The cry should never have reached her. But it did. And the moment the mermaid heard it, her world changed. She had lived in the river for many years, alone, silent, and unseen. The people who used to sing stories about her had long forgotten. To them, she was just a myth. But that night, under the full moon, something broke the silence. A baby was crying. Not a fish. Not a bird. A human baby. The mermaid's eyes opened wide in the deep water. Her long dark hair flowed behind her, and her shimmering tail flicked as she swam upward fast. The cry was soft but filled with pain, like someone too small to fight, too young to understand. And when the mermaid reached the surface, she saw him. A tiny baby, floating in the river, wrapped in a thin, wet cloth. His arms shaking, his face red from crying. There was no one else around. No boat, no mother, no name. Just a baby left to die. The mermaid's heart jumped. She had not held a child in a long, long time. Not since she lost her own baby to the sea. Back then, she had screamed into the ocean until her voice disappeared. She had searched the waves for days. But the sea never returned her child. That was the day her heart broke. Now another baby was floating. And the river, the same river that swallowed her joy years ago, was giving her this one. Without thinking, she reached for the child. He was cold, weak, his little chest rising and falling like a tired bird. The moment she pulled him to her chest, something strange happened. He stopped crying. He looked at her, not with fear, but with trust. The mermaid held him close. His tiny fingers grabbed the edge of her shell necklace, and she felt something stir inside her chest, a feeling she had buried deep for many years. Love, real love. She swam to a quiet place by the riverbank, where the reeds grew tall and thick. There, hidden beneath lily pads and shadows, she rocked him gently. "You're safe now," she whispered. The baby closed his eyes, and for the first time in forever, the mermaid smiled. Morning came with shouts, voices from the village. People were looking for someone. "Nilo," a woman screamed. "Nilo, where's my baby?" The mermaid froze. So the baby had a name. Nilo. And someone wanted him back. She looked down at the boy in her arms. His tiny mouth was open slightly. He was sleeping peacefully. How could she return him? To people who threw him into the river? Who left him for dead? No, she couldn't. She wouldn't. Later that day, a girl from the village came to the water to gather herbs. She saw a tail. She saw dark hair. She saw the mermaid. She ran away screaming. By night, villagers came with torches. They yelled from the riverbank, "Return the baby, sea witch. Give us back Nilo." The mermaid did not answer. She stayed hidden in the water, holding Nilo tight. The firelight danced above her, but it could not reach her heart. Nothing could. That night, she sang an old song, one her mother sang to her when she was small. A song only mermaids know. And Nilo smiled in his sleep. But the river has rules, and someone had seen her. Someone not from the village. Something ancient. Something dangerous. Watching. Waiting. And now that she had taken the child, it was waking up. The mermaid didn't know what was coming, but she knew one thing for sure. She wasn't going to give him back, even if it meant losing everything again. The village was quiet. Too quiet. Only the sound of a mother's crying broke the air. Her name was Grace. Her baby, Noah, was just 2 months old. Now he was gone. She sat by the river, her knees in the mud, her hands shaking. "I only looked away for one moment," she whispered, tears falling down her face. Just one moment. Her husband, Daniel, stood beside her. His eyes were red. His lips trembled. "We will find him," he said softly, trying to believe his own words. Someone must have seen something. Someone. But no one saw anything. Grace shouted suddenly. "They all say the same thing. I heard a cry. Then it stopped. That's all. What if he's gone? She broke into sobs again, her voice raw. Daniel knelt beside her and pulled her into his arms. No, he said. He's not gone. Then the girl came running. A little girl from the village, holding a bundle of herbs in one hand and fear in her eyes. I saw her, she cried. In the water. The elders gathered around her. Who did you see? They asked. The girl's lips quivered. A woman, but not a woman. She had hair like night and a tail. Everyone gasped. A tail? The chief asked slowly. The girl nodded. I think it was a mermaid. Daniel stood up. A mermaid? He repeated, voice filled with disbelief and pain. You're saying a mermaid took our son? I saw her, the girl insisted. She was holding a baby. She was singing to him. Grace's hand flew to her mouth. Oh God, she whispered. He's alive. That night, the villagers stood by the river with torches. Grace and Daniel stood in the middle, their voices rising above the rest. Please, Grace shouted into the water. Whoever you are, whatever you are, give us back our baby. Her voice cracked. He's not yours, she cried. He's mine. I carried him. I nursed him. I kissed his forehead every morning. He knows my voice. Daniel stepped forward, his face hard with emotion. If you can hear me, please listen. We don't want to fight you. We just want our son. But the river gave no answer. No ripples. No light. Only silence. Deep below the water, hidden behind lily pads and shadows, the mermaid heard everything. She was holding baby Noah in her arms. His small body pressed against her chest. He was sleeping peacefully. She had heard the mother's cry. She had felt the father's pain. But still she did not move. She would not give him back. Not now. Not ever. He was left in the river, the mermaid whispered. And the river gave him to me. She brushed a wet curl from Noah's tiny forehead. I love you, she said softly. They don't understand. But a part of her did wonder. Was she wrong? Was this love, or was this selfish? She thought of her own baby, the one she lost so long ago. The one the sea swallowed in a storm. The one who never came back. I didn't get to keep mine, she said. Why should I return you? She held Noah tighter. You make the pain stop, she whispered. But up above, Grace's cries had turned into begging. Please, she said, dropping to her knees by the water. I can't sleep. I can't eat. My arms feel empty. My heart feels cold. Please, just let me hold him again. Please. Daniel stood beside her, fists clenched. If you're listening, he said, voice low and shaking, please. Let us see him. Let us know he's alive. That's all I ask. Still, there was no answer. No sound. Only wind. But someone else was watching. A man in the trees, with one blind eye, and a knife in his belt. He heard everything. He watched the mermaid from afar, saw the way she hid in the reeds, saw the way she cradled the baby, and he smiled. She won't give him back, he whispered. Then I'll take him by force. The river had a strange silence that night. Not calm, but heavy, like it was hiding something. The mermaid lay deep beneath the reeds, holding baby Noah close. He was growing stronger, breathing better, his skin no longer pale. She hummed to him, her voice soft like bubbles drifting through the dark. He smiled in his sleep. But she could not smile, because up on the shore, the baby's mother was still weeping, and the sound was starting to break her. Grace sat on a rock, staring into the water. Her eyes were tired. Her lips were dry. I feel him, she whispered. I don't know how, but I feel he's alive. Daniel sat beside her, holding her hand tightly. We won't give up, he said. We'll search again at dawn. But nearby, watching them from the shadows, was her best friend, Melissa. She wore a red scarf and a fake smile. The same smile she always wore. Too wide. Too sweet. Too false. Melissa stepped forward, gently placing a hand on Grace's shoulder. "Come inside, dear," she said softly. "You've been out here all day. You need rest." Grace shook her head. "I can't. I won't. I feel like if I leave, he'll disappear forever." Melissa's smile did not fade. She bent down beside her, rubbing her back gently. "Grace, I love you," she whispered. "But sometimes things happen for a reason. Maybe this child, maybe he wasn't meant to stay." Grace turned sharply. "Don't say that," she snapped. "Don't ever say that. My son is meant to be with me." Melissa blinked, then smiled again. "I'm sorry," she said, but her eyes were empty. She walked back to her house, calm and quiet. Once inside, she closed the door and locked it. Then she fell to her knees, shaking. Her hands pulled at her scarf, revealing deep scratches on her neck. The guilt was eating her alive. She looked at her reflection in the small mirror. "I didn't want to," she whispered. "I just couldn't watch her be happy." Her tears fell. "I wanted a child for years. I begged. I prayed. And she just got pregnant like it was nothing." She punched the wall. "She didn't even thank God the way I would have." Melissa wiped her tears, then looked up at her reflection again. "I thought he would sink," she whispered. "I thought he would be gone by morning." Meanwhile, far from the village, the mermaid began to notice something strange. Baby Noah had a mark beneath his skin, a soft blue glow, like something alive was inside him. It pulsed like light under the surface. She touched it gently. Noah didn't cry, but the glow spread to her fingers. She gasped. It felt like a message. But from who? And why? She looked at the boy again. He wasn't just a child. He had something inside him. Something the water recognized. Something the old stories had warned her about. Back at the village, Grace had begun to grow weak. She hadn't slept. She hadn't eaten. "I keep thinking," she whispered to Daniel. "What if someone took him?" "Who would do that?" he asked. She looked across the fire, and her eyes landed on Melissa. Smiling again. Too wide. Too sweet. Too wrong. Something inside her snapped. She stood up and walked straight to her. "Melissa," she said, "tell me the truth." Melissa blinked. "What truth?" "You were the last one to visit me before he disappeared." "Grace, tell me." Melissa looked away, and for the first time, her smile faded. I don't know what you're talking about." But Grace wasn't fooled. "You were always jealous," she whispered. "You always stared at my belly like it offended you." Tears filled Melissa's eyes. Grace stepped closer. "Did you take him?" Melissa didn't answer. She couldn't, because she knew the answer was yes. Far across the trees, a dark shape moved through the water. It was the hunter, the man with the knife. He had returned, but not for the parents, not for answers. He was coming for the mermaid. And the baby. The sky turned gold. The river shimmered under the rising sun, glowing like a ribbon of peace. And far beneath its light, the mermaid held baby Noah one last time. She was not hiding anymore. She was not afraid, because last night had changed everything. She had seen what was inside him, the light under his skin. A blue glow, soft but alive. It wasn't dangerous. It was beautiful. It was a gift, a mark from the river itself. Long ago, the oldest mermaids had told stories of children touched by water spirits. They were called riverborn, children who survived what no one else could, children who carried healing in their hearts. Now she believed those stories were true. And she knew, this baby was not cursed. He was chosen. Above the surface, the village was awake. But there was no shouting today. No torches. No knives. Only silence and waiting. Because the truth had come out. Grace had found the red scarf hidden in Melissa's home. She had found the wet cloth Noah was wrapped in. And Melissa had finally confessed. "I didn't mean to kill him," she sobbed. I just wanted him to disappear. I couldn't watch you live the life I prayed for." Her voice shook. Her guilt poured like water. "I thought the river would take him forever." Grace said nothing for a long time. She stood in the doorway, crying quietly. Then she whispered, "I forgive you." Melissa froze. "What? You tried to destroy me," Grace said, her voice calm. "But I won't let your darkness live in my heart." She turned away. "I will find my son, and I will raise him in peace." Meanwhile, the hunter had arrived. Knife on his belt, one good eye scanning the water. He crept through the riverbed, waiting for the mermaid to appear. But she was already waiting for him. She rose slowly, Noah in her arms. The hunter froze. The sun hit her face. Her wet hair sparkled. Her green tail moved gently in the water. But her eyes, they were filled with strength. She did not look like a thief. She looked like a mother. "Give me the child," the hunter said coldly. She didn't answer. "He doesn't belong to you." Still no answer. The hunter pulled out his knife. Last warning. The baby stirred in her arms, blinking up at the light. And for the first time, he smiled at the sun. The mermaid held him higher, letting the golden light touch his face. And then the river moved. Not like a wave, but like a voice. A sudden gust of water shot upward, knocking the hunter back. His knife flew into the air, and the river whispered, "Enough!" He tried to stand, but his legs were caught in weeds that wrapped around him like arms. The river didn't want him here. Not today. Not ever. The mermaid turned and swam to the shore. And for the first time, she walked out of the water. Her tail shimmered and slowly changed. Into feet. Into legs. She was human now. Just for a moment. Just for this. She stepped forward, holding Noah in her arms. Grace was already running. She fell to her knees and reached out, sobbing. "My baby," she whispered. "Please, please let me hold him." The mermaid paused. Her arms were shaking. Noah looked up at her, as if he knew this was goodbye, as if he understood more than a baby ever could. She kissed his forehead, and slowly, gently, placed him in Grace's arms. Grace broke. She held him tightly, crying and laughing at once. "Noah, my sweet boy, you're alive." Daniel rushed forward and wrapped them both in his arms. Their family was whole again. The mermaid stepped back. Her legs shimmered, turning back into her tail. She smiled softly. Not the smile of loss, the smile of peace. She turned to go back into the river. But Grace called out, "Wait!" The mermaid turned. Grace wiped her tears. "I don't know what you are, or where you came from, but thank you." She stepped forward and did something no one expected. She hugged her. It was the first time the mermaid had felt a human touch without fear. She hugged back. No words were needed, only that one quiet moment. When she swam away, the river was calm. The hunter was gone, vanished. Melissa left the village soon after, seeking forgiveness far from the place she had broken. Grace and Daniel never stopped telling Noah the story of the mermaid who saved him. And every year, on the same day, they brought flowers to the riverbank and whispered, "Thank you." As for the mermaid, she returned to the deep. But she was never lonely again, because now the river carried her song, and it always sang back. Thanks for watching. Kindly subscribe for more intriguing stories.